Hey everybody, Shane here, daily-astrocat.com, and today is Wednesday, and it is the 28th of January. So what do I got for you? Well, look, our moon's in Gemini, and it's in the second quarter, and that is gonna remain there all day long. So Gemini has us focused on personal technology to a certain extent, right? We've been having issues with some of the personal tech that we've been around. So it's kind of interesting because it's issues, but we're trying with everything. So I don't know why it's causing such issues, but it is. And there's got to be a square in there or something like that, or some kind of aspect or some kind of thing that's messing with us just a little bit. So I'm seeing people at work that are going through it. They work with a different program than what I use, and they're just they're just having difficulty with it. So, personal stories related here. Look, I think that they always seem to have a greater underlying implication. So if I'm having particular trouble with something, like TikTok, like I did the other day, other people are kind of tending to have something like that, similar, maybe not necessarily with a social media platform such as TikTok, but maybe something else. So at any rate, what are we looking at? Well, hey, look, the glitch that happened with TikTok happened with many people, okay? And I want to thank everybody for your comments. That was really helpful, and I wasn't quite sure what we were doing or where it was going or where everything was happening, right? So thank you for that. It seems to be back to normal, and that's okay, right? I'm glad about that. So still looking for alternatives and things like that. Today, we're finding that we're going to be augmented in some certain way. That there's a lot of stuff going on out there in the world that's just not settling right with a lot of us, and it's beginning to take a toll. Okay? And what we're also feeling is that we're just a little bit more after yesterday's tech glitches and stuff like that, we may be feeling a little bit more confident. We may be feeling a little bit more capable, able to wrap our head around some of the things that we're encountering. And, for lack of a better word, we may be feeling a little bit more sexy too. So it's a strange combination. Hearts are beginning to appear everywhere I drive as we approach the end of January. And that means Valentine's Day must be right around the corner, right? Yes, particularly little stores and stuff like that. And today's keyword is confidence. We're starting to get a little bit of confidence back. But what are we getting confidence in? Let's find out, okay? Our color is a pale yellow shirt. So, look, the outcry intensifies as the U.S. plunges into record cold and unprecedented violence, right? We haven't seen stuff like this for a long time. Propaganda is rampant, and extrajudicial killings are being justified by government officials vilifying the victims of those things, despite plentiful accounts and videos to the contrary. Right? It seems like we've hit a new low in terms of civility and public decorum. Now, it's well past time to hit the reset button and deal with the issues that are really driving this, right? Some people are saying, oh, it's the immigrants. That's what's happening, right? No. What's the underlying issues for that immigration, okay? We're talking about war. We're talking about wealth distribution and work. Look, the 1% are having a field day, and their removal from reality is really beginning to show. Don't be buffaloed by their spokespeople. Don't be cowed by the propaganda. Don't listen to what they're trying to tell you. They're trying to divide all of us by this other thing, right? The immigrants. No, the issue is they're hanging on to more wealth. They've tricked governments into taxing them less so they can hang on to more wealth. And consequently, there's less wealth being distributed back to people, back to programs, back to building bridges, highways, schools, daycare, all of that stuff, right? No, we're keeping it. Healthcare, off the charts in the United States. People are paying, some people are paying more than their mortgage for those affordable plans that they had, right? Before. We're not taking care of people, and that's something that's got to be done, right? We have to call this shit out. I'm serious, we just have to call it out when it happens. So, call them out. For us, the moon in Gemini is a chance to call out the lies. Now, the problem is, for others, for those on the other side, it's a perfect chance to lie more, right? The dual nature of the sign, that's the dual nature of the sign of the twins. That's nature. That's Gemini, right? We don't get to pick and choose who gets to communicate better, right? They just do. So, more folks will be inclined to speak up today as the moon in Gemini trines Mercury. So that's going to be interesting, right? Mercury in Aquarius, in freedom-loving Aquarius, in revolutionary and eccentric Aquarius, right? So, we're speaking up, right? We're speaking truth, hopefully. Maybe not, right? Because of that duality of the sign. Now, if you're inclined to speak up, be as truthful as possible. That's all I can tell you. Now, the moon, everything is going to have a bit of a unique slant to it, right? Because the sun is also trine Gemini, trine the moon in Gemini. Venus is trine the moon in Gemini. That's our attraction. That's what we like, what we want, what we're going for, how comfortable we are. Remember, Mercury passes Venus tomorrow. They'll be conjunct. And then Venus will no longer be that planet. So now it's no longer what's in it for me or my comfort or, the level of comfort that I have. It is all about what we're thinking and how we're thinking about it and how we're communicating about it. So that's going to change as well. So, look, everything's going to have a bit of a unique slant to it, and that includes even grabbing people off the street and leaving cars running with their doors open. Who ever heard of anything like this, right? And this just isn't in Minnesota. This is happening in Maine and all over the place, right? Wherever this ice thing is going on, this is what they're doing. These are their tactics, right? Spraying pepper spray on the intake vents of your car when it's running, right? They're trying to just, mess with people as much as possible. So, anyway, for taking a video of them, because, we have to have secret police running around with face masks and stuff, right? That is so un-American, it's not even funny. Just saying it, throwing that out there, right? As creative people, we need to speak out against these things, okay? We need to portray them in print, in picture, and on the airwaves. Corporate media has become a huge part of the problem, right? Switch off the TV and pick up a pen and be part of the impending wave of change, because it's coming. Fight like a poet. And that is all I have for you. So in 1915, the United States Coast Guard is created by merging the U.S. Life Saving Service and the U.S. Revenue Cutter Service. Now, the U.S. Revenue Cutter Service is actually the precursor to the Navy. We had a Navy. The Navy got disbanded. The Revenue Cutter Service was the new quote-unquote Navy. And from then on there, it was the cutter service, right? They were stopping slave ships and stuff like that when we finally put an embargo on slave trading. Kind of the thing, kind of the like, right? All right, so 1915, this date. And our birth is Jackson Pollock, born in 1912, died in 1956. He's an American abstract expressionist painter, famous for Number 5 and all sorts of things. And here it cites Lavender Mist. Born in Cody, Wyoming, and died in New York. And that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for coming by. I appreciate and love every single one of you. All right, let's recap. Today's keyword is confidence, because we are feeling a little bit more confident. Now, be confidently creative as you move forward, right? And the color is a pale yellow shirt, even though I have a blue one on. So that's all I have for you. Today is a 5. Happy astrocatting.